Congressman Denny Heck, of course, he serves on the House Intel Committee. You saw him question the acting DNI yesterday. Thank you, Congressman, for being with me this morning.
You're welcome.
So let's begin with your leadership. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi wants you guys, House Intel, to lead this, and she wants the scope of the impeachment probe to be narrow and just focused on Ukraine. Is that the right approach?
For the time being, it certainly is. You know, we're just finishing. This was the week that was, and it entailed about a year's worth of developments. Just a short 96 hours ago, the Speaker announced that she was endorsing an official impeachment inquiry, and now here we are 3.5 days later, and oh my, what a week it's been, Poppy.
Yeah, we made it to Friday. Who is the most important person, do you believe, Congressman, after reading the whistleblower complaint, having your public and private testimony that you heard? Who is the single most important person you would like to bring before the committee right now?
The whistleblower, and I think we're at work at that. There are obviously some sensitive discussions, if not negotiations, going underway to assure that person's security. But according to open sources, they're a very seasoned intelligence officer. We think they have a lot to offer to the official complaint that was submitted, and I think the committee would very much like to have that conversation with them.
But can I ask you what, I was thinking about that yesterday as I was watching the hearing in real time. What is it that you believe the whistleblower could tell you that is the most critical, that's not included in the complaint? Because it's very detailed.
So that's with footnotes, as it turns out.
Yeah.
That's a very good question, Poppy. But you know, I'm reflecting back to the opportunity that we had to have Bob Mueller in to actually walk through the report and provide us with an opportunity to ask him questions. That profoundly impacted me. In fact, quite literally, for the next 72 hours after that conversation, I was plunged into some deep reflection about what the next best step would be, and that's, of course, when I came out in favor of an impeachment inquiry. I think the whistleblower conversation would have the same effect on a lot of members. It's one thing to read it on paper, black and white. It's another thing to have the conversation.
That's an interesting point, because you came out in favor of impeachment on July 28th. We saw the Mueller testimony on the 24th. The big difference, of course, would be this whistleblower testimony would be in private, right? So the American public would not see it, but I hear you on that. So let me ask you about this meeting yesterday between some Democratic members in more vulnerable seats than yours with Nancy Pelosi yesterday. Some of them have come around on impeachment, like Angie Craig, a Democrat from Minnesota, but some of them have not, like Representative Matt Cartwright, a Democrat from Pennsylvania. Angie Craig said this, quote, "I'm in a district where I've been reluctant to move forward from the perspective where I want to be disciplined, I want to look at due process, I want to make sure we get all of our facts straight." Right? I mean, there is more political risk for some of your Democratic colleagues than for others. Should that be taken into account as this moves forward?
Frankly, when I think it gets to something this serious, this somber, that political considerations should not be a part of the equation at all. The seriousness of this transcends any electoral consideration. It did for me. And I think the point is, Poppy, that individual members arrive at their conclusion in different periods of time after different periods of reflection. And so we're not all going to get there on the same day at the same hour and the same minute. Everybody has to be exposed to amount of information and reflect upon it, and then they get to where they're at, just as I did. This is a matter of conscience, Poppy. None of us comes here to do this. We come here to make a difference in people's lives and to, as it were, elevate the human condition. This is not why we want to be here, but the Founding Fathers put this constitutional remedy to us because it's not apart from or separate from our job. There are circumstances where it is our job.
Let's listen to this last night. Hillary Clinton was speaking at an event, and she had this message for Democrats.
We got to do what is difficult to do in politics and really hard in this town. We've got to do two things at once. We have to talk about what's at stake with impeachment, and we have to advocate for what's at stake in the next election. And we can do that, and we must do that.
Is it a salient point? I mean, there are some that are worried that all of the energy and all of the airwaves, right, and all of your time will be consumed with impeachment proceedings, and things like gun legislation or immigration will be put again on a back burner.
Poppy, 2 nights ago, the House of Representatives passed on a vote of 321 to about 100 the Safe Banking Act, which would allow for marijuana-related businesses in 47 states to have access to financial services. I've been working on that legislation for 6.5 years, and it culminated and passed the House in a historic vote, by the way, this week, in the very same week that all the rest of this was going on. And I would offer that as Exhibit A, as our ability to be able to do these things.
Okay. I remember seeing that. It's going to be interesting to watch where that bill goes in the Senate, though, but it was an overwhelming bipartisan vote supporting it. Finally, before you go, so we all heard the president yesterday at the United Nations say that the person within the White House, the people within the White House that gave the whistleblower this information about the Ukraine call is close to a spy and should be handled the way that they were handled in, quote, the old days, right? You don't have to have a big imagination to realize and remember how spies were treated in this country in the old days. Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar this morning on New Day said, quote, he is basically threatening execution. Is that how you heard it?
Well, it was witness intimidation at a minimum. Poppy, let's remember that the president has precisely 4 plays in his playbook. I think I've talked with you about this before. He doesn't have 5, he doesn't have 3. It is deny, attack, play the victim, and change the subject outrageously. And this is an example where he employed both number 2 and number 4. Nobody believes that he is seriously intending to actually execute anybody, but what he's trying to do is intimidate people and change the subject. And you know, Poppy, that's not going to work. And let me refer back to the hearing yesterday with Acting DNI McGuire, because you actually saw 2 Director McGuires on display there. You saw the one who tortuously contorted himself to rationalize the fact that he did not follow the law to advance the complaint to the committee in accordance with law. You saw the director that somehow tried to rationalize that the very first person he talked to outside the agency was the White House, even though they were the subject of the whistleblower complaint. And at the same time, Poppy, you saw the other Acting Director McGuire, the one who honorably served his country for 40 years. And when I pushed him to acknowledge that if any president pressured another country into getting involved in our elections and interfering with them, he finally, ultimately said it was unequivocally wrong. So that's representative of some of the people in the White House. They have within them a heartbeat of patriotism, which is why some of this material is coming out.
Congressman Denny Heck, thank you for your time. I know it's been quite a week for you guys. We'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you, Poppy.
Okay, we'll be right back.